Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of the War Room Podcast, a podcast that dives deep into everything and anything NFL. I'm your host, Andy, and alongside me, we got the Teflon Don, Rob. How you doing, Rob?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. Should we jump right into it with you?
I mean, I kind of knew what was happening. I was hoping that, Rex Burkhead wouldn't look like Gale Sayers, but, you know, Belichick's amazing, man. The scheme was perfect. Carr had a pretty rough game also as far as when he gets under pressure, he kind of curls, but our defense looked horrible. Absolutely horrible. Like, there's still, aside from Crosby this week, there was not much pass rush. We couldn't stop the run. The whole team, I know this is for everybody. The whole team's hurt now. Like, it was a rough day. But I do have a question for you, and kind of representing the Raider Nation here, because we don't know what this feels like. What does it feel like to win a game, to win a game because of the referees?
I couldn't tell you because we didn't win the game due to the referees.
Did you not watch the game this weekend?
Oh, I watched the game, but there is a certain play halfway through the game that legitimately started the Rams' giant run that they had. I don't know if you know this. When there's an interception, the other team has to catch the ball. It can't be your team that catches the ball in order for it to be an interception, because that's just called what's the word that they use? I think it's French. A complete.
What's it called?
A completion.
Oh.
So that's where it gets dicey. And yeah, I mean, people want to complain and say that the Buffalo
I'm not complaining. I'm proud of you.
No.
I'm jealous. I'm not complaining at all.
No, but the thing that annoys me is, one, listening to the game, talking about the Buffalo Bills now, listening to the game is every announcer, and I know I'm biased, every announcer does not care or does not want the Buffalo Bills to win. We're a small market team. We get it. We're not the big sex appeal. We're not this. We're not that. But you can't deny that we have an MVP caliber type quarterback as of right now.
100%.
We have probably one of the best wide receiving cores in the NFL as of right now. And we're just an all-around solid team. Knock on wood, we haven't been hit too bad with the injury bug. But the fact of the matter is that if you're going to call an interception play early on where Josh Allen did the dumbest thing, he looked like Sam Darnold out there praying and hoping that he had a wide receiver. Josh ran to the right side of the field, chucked up what he used to do to the left side of the field. Tyler Kroft did a push-off, which was offensive pass interference, I agree with. And then he caught the ball, landed, the other guy jumped on top of him, and the refs go, interception. At that point, we were winning, I think, 28-3. That completely – or 28-10. That completely turned the game. They go down and score a touchdown. We do a 3-and-out. They go down and score a touchdown again, and the game is flipped. So, I mean, the Rams, it is a ticky-tack foul, but we would never have got to that point if you don't – hey, guess what, Rams? Stop us on 3rd and 22. Hey, guess what, Rams? Stop us on 3rd and 25. They didn't do it. So we got down there and we won the game. So I'll take it. We're going to lose this week, so I'll take it.
Good for you. Well, congrats on starting 4-0.
We're not going to beat you guys.
And then you got – and thank God, actually, thank God that your Week 5 game – I think it's Week 5 – is the same night as the second presidential debate. So thank God for that, because I'm absolutely going to be watching that game.
You may hope that we have a Week 5 game. Week 5, we're supposed to face those COVID boys, those Tennessee Titans.
Then it's Week 6. My bad. October 15th, whatever that is. That's you and the Chiefs versus or you and the Chiefs, and same night as the presidential debate. So thank God.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel confident any week the Buffalo Bills play, just because any week we could be the Buffalo Bills. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting game this week, especially with both you and I having some skin in the game against each other. I think our key is we have to do exactly what the Patriots did. I know that sounds easy to say, and what everyone's like, oh, yeah, well, no shit, the Patriots won the game. But we have to keep Carr in the pocket. Carr looked like a statue when you keep him in the pocket. He's not that mobile. But Jacobs is going to run probably for 475 yards against us. So that's our keys to the game for you guys. But what do you think about your team? What do the Raiders have to do?
They got to control the time of possession. That's the big thing. You have to control the time of possession. They have to be able to run the ball. But at the same time, you can't give it away. You know, the Josh Jacobs fumble this week was a killer. That started a lot of momentum for the Patriots, even though it wasn't technically he landed on the ball. Like everyone said, like that wasn't a recovered fumble by the Patriots, but it didn't matter because they just wound up taking advantage and just kind of going off. Carr, every time he gets touched, he fumbles. He has no ball security when he gets hit, so that hurts. We just got to hold on to the ball. We got to keep the time of possession. We got to run the ball down the throat. That's all we can do. That's it. That's how we have to do it. And if we have Ruggs back, that would be fantastic because it takes a whole nother dynamic to the game because you have to respect the speed. So that's how we get Waller involved. You can't get Waller involved when you don't have an outside threat. So that's what we got to do. That's honestly what we got to do. But kind of moving outside of those two teams, I've always been a big my philosophy has always been that, in my opinion, the 98 Vikings had the best offense I've ever seen. I really believe that. I think the 98 Vikings with Cunningham, Carter, Moss, like that was, to me, the best offense I've ever seen in my life. I think that the Chiefs might be getting to that level, if not more. That is dynamic as hell.
That I'll give them credit on that. I think their offense is fantastic. I think Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes. I mean, he's dealing. I think the addition of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back, who's just he looks like he's the greased up deaf guy from Family Guy, where people try to tackle him and he just slips out of people. It's just he is fantastic. And the catch he made, like the underrated part of his game is people didn't realize that he was a running back that could catch. They didn't ask him to do that much at LSU. I mean, they did it, but at LSU you had first-round draft picks all up and down the offense. His catching ability was great, but I think the overshadowed point of the entire game was, can we talk about the guy that I made fun of early on, where Lamar Jackson, and everybody is crowning him the Christ of football, the savior of everything? He looked like trash.
It's one game, man.
One game. If you get up on the Ravens by 14, they can't come back. They can't come back. They only can run. Your offense is built with a tight end, a wide receiver, so 1-1, and then 787 running backs, and then your quarterback. That's it. You shut down. You have a corner. You have any good corner can shut down the wide receiver. Tight end's always tough because it's a mismatch nightmare. And then the 800 running backs, like Kansas City had the program to shut them down. They just stopped the ball at the point of attack. Their big uglies were better than their big uglies.
At the same time, though, you're not going to be playing Kansas City every week. And Baltimore has the best front seven in the league, in my opinion. And if somebody gets up 14-0 on them, they could easily turn that around just defensively.
But if you make Lamar throw, boy, you're looking good. If you have to have Lamar throw the ball, he looked bad.
It was a bad game. It was absolutely a bad game. But at the same time, Devin Duvernay, dude.
I was going to say, when are you going to start talking about
Here
that?
it is. Oh, God.
Another one of your sleeper picks where I was busting your chops. You texted me during the game, and you said Devin Duvernay, and I said, what? He has 7 yards receiving. Because I did not want to acknowledge the fact that he had a kick return. But, yeah, I mean, he's legit special teamer. But I'll let you talk about your boy, so go for it.
Oh, man, so I did a lot of studying on linebackers last year. And so, too, obviously, I watched where Murray from Oklahoma, and then obviously I watched LSU, too. And both of those games, I know the stat line for Duvernay wasn't there, but, like, when watching those – like, I was trying to watch the linebackers, but he just was all over the place. I couldn't ignore it, like, especially against LSU, man. He lit them up. It's like 146 yards and 2 touchdowns or something like that. He just lit them up. He was all over the place. Just really fun to watch. And I know Texas has a bunch of receivers. Colin Johnson was there too, but, like, he was just awesome. And he can play special teams, obviously. We just saw that. But, you know, one you were just talking about too, just because I didn't want to interrupt you, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire, my player comp for him was Brian Westbrook coming out. And That's exactly why, because they're so similar. Similar stature, not duplicate, but like it's the same type of player. You can play him out wide. You can play him in I form. You can play him single back. You can empty out the backfield. You can do whatever you want with him. That offense, man, like I just don't know. And I consider myself a defensive guy. I don't know how to stop that. When you have Hill on one side, and then you have Hardman on the opposite. You have Watkins coming out. So then at that when Watkins comes in, you can even move Hardman or Hill into the slot.
Yep.
Then you have Kelsey, who is arguably the best tight end in the game. Then you have the running game that we talked about. And then, Pat Mahomes is your quarterback.
And they're not even using their starting offensive line.
Yeah, and their line is very good.
But it's not their starters. Some of the two players opted out. So it's like you're using guys. It's insane. They're filthy. Like, to your point.
And fun stat too. I was told the other day by a buddy. Eric Fisher is the last number 1 pick with a touchdown reception.
I saw this.
Since 1996, Keyshawn was the last two were Eric Fisher and Keyshawn were the last number 1 picks to get the touchdown reception.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. But I mean, other notes of this week that I know we could talk about games left and right and talk about some certain scores. A couple things that popped off the page to me are that there's going to be 2 vacant head coaching jobs.
Might be more than that.
I think 2 guaranteed that should have already happened. So Adam Gase is just a train wreck, and then Quinn. Like I was watching that game on the side, and I saw Atlanta go up big, and I'm like, they're going to lose this, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what they do.
God,
I can't believe that I somebody should probably punch me in the face for complaining about the prevent defense as much as I do, because the Raiders do it a ton, but like the amount that the Falcons do it, it's unbelievable. I don't get it at all. I really don't. I don't understand. But at the same time, I know we're talking about them, but Patricia is not exactly safe right now.
They had a good win, though. I mean, I watched the highlights of the games. I circled back to it. I mean, that's a good win. That's a solid win against a team that everybody's talking about in Arizona. So, I mean, it's definitely – I mean, it helps when you have one of the best kickers in the game who you can always trust to just trot out there and kick the ball.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's not out of hot water yet.
No, he's not. He's not. I really didn't expect them to win that game either.
No, I mean, a quick scoring rundown was just Dolphins over Jags, 49ers. I mean, the 49ers over the Giants. The Giants, I'm guessing you saw the play where the Giants went for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 on their own 35, and Daniel Jones went backwards. You lose to a bunch of backups.
Bad.
You're in trouble. You know you're in trouble. I do think Jones is the quarterback of the future. I do think he is a better – if you had to put me right now and said the Giants and Jets are going to be the first overall pick, I would say the Giants stay with Jones, and I say the Jets trade Sam Darnold. That's just me personally. That's my take. But, yeah, I mean, the Giants just look bad. But worse than the Giants, and I know this will piss a bunch of people off, I think the Eagles are in an absolute train wreck, and your boy's about to start sooner rather than later.
Dude, they look horrible. Like, I know people that think the Bengals have the worst team in the league. I'm not one of them.
No chance.
But come on, man. Like, really? Like, how do you tie the Bengals? Honestly, Wentz looks horrible. I understand their offensive line's hurt. Their receivers are all hurt again. Come on. Like, make a play. Like, he had a lot of opportunities to make a play in that game, and he didn't.
Yeah, I mean, they look really bad. Another team that looks bad, but they've also played some serious opponents are the Texans. I mean, the Texans lost to the Steelers.
Yeah. I'm not going to comment on that one yet. Those you can argue that they played the 3 best teams in the league. You know what I mean? But
the only thing I want to argue about it is it goes to show that with a franchise quarterback, the quarterback that has grown accustomed and comfortable with a particular play scheme and a wide receiver, you remove his best tool and give him a running back, it hurts. I mean, I'm not a big component of paying a wide receiver. I think you can find wide receiver depths, and I think you can find running back depths once you find your quarterback. But it's just showing you right now that Deshaun Watson needs Hopkins, where all else fails, chuck it up as high as you can, and Hopkins will catch it. I mean, it's so funny looking at Hopkins play in Arizona, especially when they zoom in on his hands. His hands are so big, he has to cut the extra large gloves in order to fit him in it. Like, the dude just has a catcher's mitt.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. And I mean, there's other
He can
good
high
games.
point a ball too. He can
Oh,
high
yeah.
point a ball better than anybody. He's a dog with a frisbee, man. That's what he is.
Honestly, that's a
It's-
fantastic analogy. Like, no matter where you throw it,
He
he'll
is.
contort his body and get it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. He's fantastic. I will never understand that trade.
No,
I cannot figure out that trade at all.
no. And the last
And then
one,
taking on the Brandon Cooks, the Rams also like
Oh, God.
taking on that Brandon Cooks contract is another one that I'll never understand.
I forgot that they signed him. And yeah, Brandon Cooks is only as good as if you have complementary receivers. I mean, Will Fuller, I'm a big fan of.
If
but
he can
I
stay healthy, I totally agree. He is
Agree.
incredibly talented.
That's the asterisk, is he can't stay healthy ever. But I mean, the last recap game that I just wanted to touch on was the Green Bay Packers against the Saints.
Dude,
The Green Bay Packers are scary.
yeah.
They are scary good. I mean, Adams didn't even play again, and they still lit him up. I mean, the Saints, I'll never count out Drew Brees, but Drew Brees looks old. Like, he definitely looks old. He doesn't look like he's all there. It's tough, and it's hard to say that you're going to win football games when your leading receiver is your running back. Granted, the running back's stats, I mean, Kamara had, I believe, over 140 yards receiving, but still, you do not scare teams when all you're going to do is dunk it in the backfield, and you're not going to win games. So that was interesting to see. I don't know if you had any other games I missed that you want to touch on.
Well, first, Rodgers is man, he's remarkable. And I'm still saying, man, Green Bay could have been better than what they are, because I really, to this day, do not like that draft at all.
Nope.
They're doing this without a first-round pick, essentially.
Yeah.
Maybe the motivation of a first-round pick, if that makes sense. Maybe that pushed Rodgers a little bit more. I don't know. But man, How
many carries did Dylan have? How many carries did Dylan have?
I don't know, Andy. How many did he have? No,
Zero.
wow.
Another wasted draft pick. You have two bell cow running backs in the backfield, and you waste another high draft pick on a running back that didn't even get the ball on 3rd and 1. It's pointless.
Why do you hate him so much?
I don't hate him so much. I hate the process of drafting him as high as he was. There was no way he should have been drafted that high. And it's proven. He's not on the field. He is not on the field. But on to this week. I know we'll give a brief update on this week, but the one game that I'm interested to see outside of the game that we're both looking at, and I know it's going to sound trashy, but I love sometimes watching bad football. This Thursday night game, I'm actually kind of excited to watch, because they announced today, and I hope I don't butcher his name, but Rippon,
Yeah.
the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, the new quarterback from the Denver Broncos, undrafted out of Boise State, set all these records. Man, I'm excited to see what he can do. But again, I'm saying I'm excited to see what he can do when literally every position on the Broncos is either on IR or is opted out. I feel bad when I'm laughing, but it's not even a joke. Their number one wide receiver's out. Their entire offensive line is out. It's bad. It's bad, but it'll be fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of interested to see how they use the running game, just to kind of take a little bit of pressure off of them, because normally when you have a young quarterback come in, the two things that they need to kind of rest on are the running game and the tight end position. So I'm just kind of curious to see how they can do that. I think Noah Fant could have a pretty good game, if he's healthy. But it should be fun to watch, definitely. And there is a rumor out there that if the Jets lose, Gase is gone after this week.
That should be the rumor should be Gase is gone now. The coach will be the team.
Well, it shouldn't be a rumor. It should just happen. Like he's done a horrible job. And I will say too, I don't think that the front office has done much to help him. I will say that. But I think collectively the Jets just need to be blown up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think I hope to God that whatever happens to Sam Darnold, he gets some talent around him. I know I'm being repetitive, and I talked about this last week, but it's horrible. It really is.
I mean, it's worth noting. I mean, they called up Lawrence Gager or Cager this past week from their practice squad. I don't even think he got a ball thrown to him. But Sam Darnold is literally not throwing the ball to anybody. The starting running back is their ageless wonder, but and I would never say a bad word about Frank Gore, even if he never did play for the Buffalo Bills. But like he's their starting running back in the NFL.
Yep.
It's just scary to see that. And I mean, their starting cornerback is Bless Austin from Rutgers, who was a 4th or 5th round pick, and he played on the Rutgers team where Rutgers, I think, lost to Michigan 70-something to 0.
God.
Like it's not a recipe for success. You get rid of your back end. I mean, Adams is a great safety. He wasn't really the turnover king that you wanted, but he would at least bring fear in the running game. People don't fear the running game against the Jets. But it's interesting. I mean, another cool game that I'm interested in seeing is the Bengals against the Jags. Simple reason to see that is I think the Bengals are a team on the rise. I think the Jags are the team on the downfall. It'll be just interesting to see if Burrow can get his first win there. Anything that pop out to you?
So not game-wise, but you brought up Cager a couple seconds ago. Speaking of big-bodied wide receivers, did you notice the Eagles signing yesterday?
No, I don't think so.
So what's funny about this, so they signed Hakeem Butler.
Oh, my boy.
Okay, now this is where it gets good. They signed tight end Hakeem Butler.
He's like 7 pounds, 3 ounces.
No.
He's not big enough to play tight end.
No, he is.
Oh, God.
He absolutely is.
Oh, God. I mean, the knock on him was his hands were bad, so you want to put a guy closer to the line to block an offensive lineman. Good luck.
He's 6'5", 225.
That's a little svelte.
No. I'm amped up about that. I don't know when we're going to actually see him. I have no idea, but I'm excited about that. When they announced that they signed tight end Hakeem Butler, I was amped. That is fantastic. I love those conversions. I love when teams do that. And you know what? To bring up another one too, and this is something I've talked about, but I'm going to continue to talk about it probably for the rest of my life. Why don't you go look up who leads the league in sacks?
Not going to do it.
Look it up.
I already know who does.
Unbelievable.
You're back.
Fantastic.
You're back.
That is why I've
four and a
pitched him
half?
on for 5 years. That's why.
Is it 4.5?
Absolutely. 4.
Okay. I thought it was 4.5.
I'm pretty sure it's 4.
You want to talk about a conversion? You know who the starting tight end is for the Carolina Panthers?
No.
Chris Manhertz. Chris Manhertz was a basketball player at Canisius.
Really?
Yeah. The only reason why I
it.
know this is he was on the Buffalo Bills one off season, and they were like, we're trying him out at tight end. We're trying to see if this can work. Like, that's when everybody fell in love with the Jimmy Graham aspect of it, where it's like, we can convert basketball players. Like, they jump high. They do good things. It's like, no, NFL GMs, like, you can't always do that. He's the starting tight end for the Carolina Panthers. I mean, that's not saying much. Carolina is –
I like it. And who's also finally getting some love and getting the opportunity to shine? Mo Alley Cox with the Colts.
If
he's
had
great.
Any ounce of speed in his body, he'd be fantastic. I saw the couple catches he made over the middle. I'm like, oh, dude's gone. And then all of a sudden it looked like he was put on like an escalator at like the airport that just goes backwards and everybody else was catching up to him.
Yeah. But what's cool about that is, and that's and this is me saying this, being a guy that absolutely covets speed at the wide receiver position and the tight end position. You don't need it to get open, and he's finally learning how to create separation without using speed by utilizing his body and his size. He's going to be dangerous for a long time. He's going to be very good for a long time. Absolutely.
So. Yeah, I mean the last interesting game that I'm very excited to see, for of course our implications being on the AFC, is the New England Patriots play the Kansas City Chiefs this week.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if – I haven't watched Cam Newton for a full game. His throwing motion now, I don't understand it, but the ball gets to where it needs to go.
Mm-hmm. It takes pressure off of his shoulder and his elbow.
It looks crazy. But I'm interested to see how the Patriots do and how the Patriots hold up against another top-notch team. I know everybody said that they should have beat Seattle, but they didn't, and it was early in the season. I'm interested to see how they hold up against Kansas City, because then that'll be a measuring stick for the Buffalo Bills, even though, like I said, the Bills are probably going to lose by 14 this weekend.
No. I said before, I don't know how you can possibly stop the Chiefs' offense. If anyone can figure it out, Belichick is the one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
But I don't think that you can. I just think you have to keep up with them, and even that is incredibly difficult. I think that they're the best team in the league, bar none, right now. I don't think it's even close, and that pains me to say.
I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't mind it. Could be worse. Could be the Patriots again. But
yeah, I guess. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend. Definitely looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to the Vegas Raiders versus the Buffalo referees.
what do you do at
Looking forward to
4?
that.
What do you do for the day if a game's at 4:25? I'm not used to games not starting at 1.
I gamble.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Be honest.
I can do that.
Yeah, it's fun. I just started up on DraftKings. I was always a points bet guy, so
All right, then let's do this then. I won my my whatchamacallit, my survivor pick last week. So I took the Bucks just because I wanted to go safe because the Colts screwed me in week 1.
okay.
And it's a double elimination. Who do I go this week?
Who were your previous picks? You
I
can't pick more than once, correct?
Yeah, correct. So I picked the Bucks, and then week 2. I'm looking at what week 2 was. Week 2. I don't remember who I picked week 2. Oh, I picked the 49ers. Yeah,
Okay.
I picked the 49ers. So my thought for this week is the Rams over the Giants. And I know you're supposed to try to do your best to save your best teams for later on in the year, but my worry with this entire year, 1 is COVID could happen and problems could happen in that regard. But 2, the best teams are getting hurt. So let's win with them now while we still can.
I would honestly, the first thing that pops out to me is Jacksonville.
Take Jacksonville over the Bengals.
You'll never pick them again.
But I could be eliminated because of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is playing great.
He does. He has been looking really good.
The Miami Dolphins beat the Jaguars convincingly.
It was bad. I like Jacksonville this week. I really do. I like, I love Minshew's game. I know he had a bad game last week. The first 2 weeks, I thought he looked great. I don't know. That's a good one. The Rams that's definitely a good pick. I don't know how often you would pick them anyway.
Yeah. I mean, part of me wanted to do Green Bay, but I'll have a slight heart attack like I did this past weekend if I pick Green Bay and the Falcons go up big to start.
Houston's another one. Minnesota looks – they won this week, but before that they looked horrible.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I think I'm going to
go Rams.
I think I'm going to go Rams.
Yeah. But you brought up COVID, and that's probably something we should talk about with what's going on with the Titans and I think the Vikings too, having the 8 players 3 players, 5 personnel staff that were tested positive, and now they are not allowed to be in the facility until Saturday. But it was announced yesterday that the game will remain on Sunday, or at the latest be played Monday. So the Titans are going to be basically against the Steelers, not able to practice until the day before the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big deal. Even if it is Monday, that still doesn't give you much time at all. It's basically everything is virtual until then. That's a big deal. I don't know what they're doing with the Vikings. I should have read more about that before hopping on here, but people don't realize how important a full week's worth of practice really is. I mean, it's tough to be on a short week when you're playing, when you have a Sunday game and then you have a Thursday game. That's tough enough. Having one day, that's incredible. I'm going to be very interested in seeing how that works out.
Yeah, I'm very interested too from the negative standpoint as well, unfortunately, where if for some reason they decide that they can't play the game, what happens to the schedule? because now you could possibly be putting yourself in an unfair advantage in the other terms of it. So the Titans and Vikings could both have players come back healthier because they don't have to play football this weekend. So you give more rest to the players that don't have COVID, so that next time they do play an opponent, they're well rested, they're ready to go, and you have another team coming off a bye or another team coming off a week's worth of games. It's just going to be interesting to see. I mean, part of me wishes that, and I know I'm all about safety. I want to make sure everybody's healthy. Like, at the end of the day, that's the most important part, so we can keep playing in the future. But this is why you have a practice squad. This is why you have the amount of people that you have. Quarantine the people that have had it, quarantine the people that have been in contact with it, test them up multiple times. If you lose a starting guard and a tackle and a wide receiver and your quarterback, there you go, practice squad, guard, tackle, wide receiver, quarterback. Step up. Let's play football. That's what I would love to see, but it's not good. It's going to be interesting to see if it actually happens, especially now because the Tennessee Titans are one of the top teams in the league. That's what's going to be interesting to see. So if this happened to Kansas City and Pat Mahomes was near somebody with COVID, the entire league would shut down. And that's what I don't want to see happen because it shouldn't be the case.
Totally agree with you. 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
And with it being
go ahead.
No, with it being the Titans as well, just kind of looking at their practice squad, it's just trying to see. Deonta Foreman's there. Breon Borders, my boy. So, I mean, there's some players that you could have you never know, you could have like a Wally Pipp situation, For people that don't know, he was a very good first baseman that came out one game. Lou Gehrig went in, and Wally Pipp never played again for the Yankees. So, man, it's also an opportunity. You got to try to look at some of the positives here, and maybe, unfortunately, okay, someone could lose their job, but hey, somebody could get a job too out of it, and really start a career. So, just trying to stay kind of positive with it, but it's tough, man. I'm curious to see how it goes.
Yep, 1 week at a time, one step at a time. But with that being said, we'll probably wrap up this episode now. We could probably talk for days and days and days just about each and every week. But I know next week is going to be interesting unless it ends in a tie. Just for the simple fact, if our game ends in a tie, we may never do this podcast ever again. But all I got to say to everybody is make sure you follow us on our social channels so we can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at _WarRoom33.
And everybody watching on YouTube, please subscribe, follow, hit the bell. Any questions, topics you want us to talk about, comment below. But thank you guys very much for listening. Appreciate it. Have a good week, and congrats again, Andy, on the 4-0 start.
Yep, I won't say thank you because that's not going to happen, but appreciate it, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.
Later.